Howdy, my name is Eric Hopkins, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're finding me for the very first time, or you are a returning viewer and have not yet done so, please click that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. So Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage has been in theaters now for a little over a week. And of course, it's got some stiff competition coming its way this weekend with No Time to Die releasing in theaters as well. So I wanted to get into a little bit of a discussion here about the Venom 2 post-credit scene. So if you've not seen Venom 2 just yet, please check out now and come back and check out this video after you've seen the movie, because the post-credit scene is very important. And I want to talk a little bit about why it's important and what it could mean for Marvel movies going forward. So definitely, come back after you've seen it, and then we'll get into that right after this spoiler warning. All right, if you're still here, either you've seen the movie or you don't care if I ruin it. So with that being said, let's go over here and check out this article from the Direct. Venom 2 post-credit scene explained and what it means for future movies. Venom Let There Be Carnage has finally arrived in U.S. cinemas, and all anyone can talk about is the ending. In fact, the Venom 2 post-credits has been blowing the roof off several cinemas around the world thanks to its implications for the series. However, the scene in question has caused some confusion, as it's not entirely clear what is going on. Even after watching multiple times, you may not quite realize how monumental this scene could be and how exactly what happened. All right, time to stop being so vague. Let's talk about those spoilers, shall we? So you've seen Venom 2 and thus witnessed the bromance between Venom and Eddie unfold. The duo manages to defeat Carnage, save the day, and run away to an island where they can enjoy their honeymoon together. They're kind of on the run at the same time. Well, not really a honeymoon, but it might as well be. They're seemingly set to become slightly more heroic in the future, but then something happens. They're going to be becoming the lethal protector, as it were, in the comic books, where Venom kind of becomes this, protector, but he's also very violent in sort of ways. After this first set of credits roll, we get a Venom 2 post-credits scene. Eddie's lying on a bed watching television when Venom asks whether Eddie wants to see a glimpse into his symbiotic world. 80 billion light years of hive knowledge across universes would explode your tiny little brain, says Venom. Eddie, though, is dazed and seemingly keen to learn a little more. He's just the smallest fraction of things we symbiotes have experienced, Venom continues. And then the room starts to change. The lights flicker, and Venom calls out, "What's going on?" This doesn't appear to be the effects of Venom showing Eddie his world, but something very different. Things calmed down, but the room's changed. The curtains, the bed, the television, lighting, all are not as they were a second ago. It appears they have been transported somewhere, and the television confirms as much. As Eddie asks, what are we, or where are we? And Venom confirms, "It wasn't me." And we can hear none other than J. Jonah Jameson, played by a returning J.K. Simmons from Spider-Man Far From Home, about a shocking revelation concerning Peter Parker being outed as the true identity of Spider-Man. "That guy," Venom says. He then licks the screen as Tom Holland's face, not Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, as some people theorized beforehand, appears. It seems Venom has indeed now joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just as Mysterio reveals to the world that Spider-Man's identity as seen in Far From Home. A man then walks into the room and asks what Eddie's doing there, to which Eddie responds with a shrug. So, is Venom officially in the MCU? It definitely appears to be the case. Venom is seemingly now a part of the MCU, meaning the anti-hero will likely come face-to-face with Holland's take on Spider-Man. Interestingly, Jameson's Daily Bugle on the television uses the publication's new logo seen in the MCU Spider-Man movies, instead of the one that's present through the main Venom 2 storyline, which happens to be from Maguire's Spider-Man movies. I don't know if that's actually been confirmed, so let's not take that as gospel here, okay? It could be any of the Spider-Man universes, or he may not even have a Spider-Man in his universe, so let's not jump ahead here. The Venom 2 post-credit scene appears to depict Eddie being transported across the multiverse from his original setting into the MCU. That's why everything in the room changes so much, and why Spider-Man's on the screen. So if you've seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie with Miles Morales, you kind of got an idea about what the universe changing and the way things, pretty much explode on screen and you end up in another world. That's basically what happened here with Eddie Brock. But what just happened? That's the million-dollar question. There are no clear signs as to why Venom has suddenly appeared in the MCU. And we can rule out that Venom himself transporting them accidentally to the MCU, because Venom himself even says in that scene, "It wasn't me. I don't know what's going on." So it wasn't Venom doing this with his symbiotic powers. Whatever he was about to show Eddie got interrupted. He didn't get to show him what happened. So keep that in mind. It wasn't Venom doing this. The answer could be that Sylvie, if you've seen the movie or the TV series Loki, which I'm going to be talking about spoilers for that here too, so definitely be aware. Could it be that Sylvie killing He Who Remains at the end of Loki has caused the multiverse to collapse? Now, those names will mean nothing to you if you haven't seen Loki on Disney+. Essentially, a female Loki variant. A variant is basically a version of the Loki character from a different universe. So there could be multiple Spider-Mans. They would be different variants of Spider-Man. You see how this goes? So this variant of Loki named Sylvie killed a man who was keeping the multiverse in order in one single timeline here. And when that happens, this character played by Jonathan Majors made sure that the MCU remains set in its ways. But Sylvie killing him seemingly opened everything up for chaos, the multiverse of madness, as it were. In fact, during the final scene of Loki, we see a variant of He Who Remains named Kang the Conqueror has already started to change the MCU with that giant statue that is now in the Time Variance Authority. Although the Loki series no doubt changed the MCU, the real impact of the multiverse will be felt in Spider-Man No Way Home. The first trailer revealed that Peter Parker will go to Doctor Strange and ask him to undo Mysterio, revealing his identity. Then this causes a rift in the multiverse, causing Doc Ock and Green Goblin, both of them from the Sam Raimi Tobey Maguire trilogy, to appear in No Way Home. We also know that Electro from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies will be back for the next Spider-Man movie. There's also the potential for this to be tied to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the upcoming sequel that literally has multiverse in the title. No doubt Doctor Strange will have his hands full, but we don't yet know whether he's dealing with the fallout of Spider-Man No Way Home, the Loki series, or something all new. I personally think what happened was when in the trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, when you see Doctor Strange trying to conjure the spell to erase everybody's mind about who Spider-Man really is, that his identity is Peter Parker, I think when that spell goes wrong, that's when the multiverse gets cracked wide open, and that's what brings Venom into the MCU. Now there's also, theory about Wanda in WandaVision. At the end, she's looking through the Darkhold and she's trying to manipulate time, space, reality so she can bring her kids back to life. There's also that. There's a lot of different scenarios. Maybe all of them, all three combined, is what cracks open the multiverse of madness. We'll just have to wait and see what the MCU does to explain exactly how all this is happening. But there's a lot of different setups they've already explained in some of their other series. Could Venom appear in Spider-Man No Way Home? Well, right now, it's not against the realm of possibility. However, that movie's already packed with heroes and villains, and there's little chance they would want Venom versus Spider-Man to be a simple side story in an already packed movie. We already know that the upcoming Morbius movie will feature the titular vampire plus Michael Keaton's Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming. Could Venom instead join them for a new Sinister Six movie? That seems more likely, and could we see Sony carve out its own order within the MCU for its villains and Spider-Man? That's also a possibility. Whatever the case, it now seems inevitable that Tom Hardy's Venom and Tom Holland's Spider-Man will one day come to punches on the big screen, and you just know that the Tom and Tom press conferences are going to be a lot of fun. The multiverse has been opened, and Venom's future in the MCU is unknown at this point. This really is the start of something massive, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe has added 2 more entries, Venom and Venom 2, to its already massive list of movies, and shows how they fit into our how to watch the Marvel movies in order. We'll just have to wait and see, because we're all not quite sure yet, but they all tie in somewhere. You can kind of place them, in a normal timeline. Now, here's the bottom line of all this. Anything that says Marvel on it at this point, consider it canon. Consider it as actually happening in the MCU. Consider it as actually happened, in anything that Marvel has done. Same thing with DC. If it says DC at the front of the movie or anywhere, consider that it happened somewhere in the vast multiverse that is the DC and Marvel worlds. It may not have happened in the one timelines with the Avengers in Marvel's case, but it does not mean it did not happen in another Earth, another universe, a parallel universe, as it were. Because now these movies are going to start bringing in the multiverse to where they all start crossing over together, and we're going to have some great storytelling elements. So that basically means the Venom movies, the Blade movies with Wesley Snipes, the Ghost Rider movies, the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage, the Fantastic Four with Chris Evans as the Human Torch, and Jessica Alba, all these movies from the X-Men movies from Fox. Don't forget that one. That's very important. We could be seeing the X-Men possibly showing up in their older incarnations from Fox in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, because all this craziness is about to happen, and chaos is going to start reigning in on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So Everything is on the table at this point. We're getting Michael Keaton back as Batman in the Flash film. We're going to be, having Flash go back in time and, alternate dimensions and universes and stuff as well, cracking open the multiverse over there, which has already been teased at, and the Flash TV show as well, where Ezra Miller met up with Grant Gustin's Flash in that show already. So DC's been doing this for a while. Their animated universe, everything ties together, and they can reference each other at any given point. That is why this is so important. This is the first instance in Marvel that we have seen a Marvel movie outside of the main MCU timeline that has now officially crossed over into the MCU. And now we're going to eventually see Tom Holland's Spider-Man, who is now, it was always been technically owned by Sony, but has kind of been on loan to the MCU. We're going to see him cross over in probably Venom 3, most likely, or maybe a separate movie where it's just like Venom versus Spider-Man or something like that. But do I think Venom's going to be in No Way Home? Maybe. We don't know. We get Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, probably the Lizard, Vulture, Mysterio. Who knows who's going to be in that movie at this point until we get another trailer. We'll probably get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield as their other Spider-Man from their other worlds as well, and doing their live-action Spider-Verse. Hopefully we'll get a Gwen Stacy coming back to become Spider-Gwen at some point live-action. That would be great too. All this stuff could definitely be happening, but Venom, I think at the very least, we're going to see Tom Hardy as Venom and Eddie Brock in the Spider-Man No Way Home post-credit scene that could be setting up a future film between the two, which will probably start out with them not liking each other, but then they'll probably, join forces, do the Batman versus Superman thing, where they don't like each other at first, and they maybe have to join forces for a greater good, because they're still trying to play off Venom as a lethal protector and anti-hero, and eventually they'll probably team up. And I would like to maybe have seen them go up against Carnage, but again, since this is spoilers for Venom 2, that doesn't look very likely right now, as Carnage died in Venom 2, but never say never. Maybe, again, you can pull in Carnage from an alternate timeline before he got killed. So there's always that possibility as well. Never say never in a world of comic books. And this is exactly why I've said since Avengers Endgame, do not count out the possibility of Tony Stark, of Chris Evans coming back as Cap, as Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Tony Stark, or you could just recast and say they're Captain America and Tony Stark and Iron Man from another universe, a variant. They've already set precedents for this in the MCU. We've got multiple different Lokis in the Loki series. All of them don't look like Tom Hiddleston. Some of them do, some of them don't. So if you recast somebody to play these other characters from another universe, they've already laid the groundwork for the fact that this will make absolute sense if they were to recast Wolverine, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, you name it, they can recast whoever they want, and it will make narrative sense. That's the brilliance of the multiverse. And of course, it can have its issues as well, but if you continue to play with it the right way, I think it can make a lot of sense. But the real question here is, guys, what do you guys think? Did you guys like the Venom 2 post-credit scene? What did you guys think about it? Are you excited about the multiverse possibilities as I am? Or do you think it's just going to be very convoluted and become a bigger problem, and you think that comic book movies are a little oversaturated? Please comment below. I want to see all the comic book movies I can possibly get. Let me know what you guys think, though, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and please hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. And until my next video, guys, take care.